Kay Whitt, designer for Serendipity Studio, and today I'm going to be talking to you about adding a zipper panel to a bag. Now this can be done with any kind of bag. If you choose to add one to the exterior of a bag, you need to watch to be sure that you know where your other details like handles or any other types of details for that particular pattern will be added so that your zipper panel doesn't interfere when you get ready to stitch the rest of the bag together. So I've brought some examples here today of what I will be showing you, and I've got an exterior zipper here on this bag. Notice that I'm using a heavy duty zipper. This is a sport zipper, and this is my favorite type to use in an exterior application for a bag. On this small bag, I have added a pocket and a zipper to the exterior. This is a great phone pocket. And I just love to add details to exteriors of bags. It makes them more user-friendly, and you know, it's just a great way to punch up the detail. So let's get started. I've got a pattern here that I'm going to be using, and you can see that I've already got a rectangular shape cut out of my pattern, and that's where that zipper panel is going to be sewn in. Underneath, I've got a heavy-duty fusible stabilizer. This is like a cardstock with fusible on one side, and so it's a great application for a small bag like this because it's easy to turn when you get ready to do that in construction. So what I'm going to do next is trace this opening, and before I do that, you can use a temporary adhesive spray. I like to do that. It keeps my pattern pieces in place so that I get a nice sharp line. So now I will stick my pattern to the stabilizer, and I'm ready to trace my opening. So I'm just going to trace this opening here, and once that's been traced, I'll peel my pattern away, and you can see where the stabilizer needs to be cut. Now the reason that I do that is so that the stabilizer is not part of the seam, and it reduces the bulk and makes it easier to sew. So here's one that I have already cut out, and now this one is ready to have the fabric fused to it. I'm going to use fabric that is a little bigger than my stabilizer piece, so I'll lay that on top, and we'll give it a little bit of steam here to activate the adhesive. And note that I'm not cutting that rectangle out of my fabric. I have a really good reason for that. I will need that fabric to create my seam. So you can see here, I still have my opening, but I've got fabric now in that spot. So now it's time to cut the excess fabric away from the stabilizer, so that won't be needed. I'll trim that corner, make my way around, and get that all cut away. And now the piece will be ready to add the pocket. So I've got my piece, and I've already got my pocket fabric ready to go. I've added some lightweight interfacing to the back. I like to have a little interfacing in my pockets. I think it gives them a little structured, better function when you're actually using them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pocket piece and lay it on top of my exterior bag. Now I don't know if you can see that, but I've got my opening is right there. I'm going to center my pocket over the top, and it's about 3/4 of an inch or so from the top of the bag. So I'm ready to stitch this. I'm going to just pin it a couple of times to keep it in place. And that stabilizer stiff, those pins are a little, there we go. All right, now I'm going to stitch from this side. Now I don't have to mark anything because the opening in my stabilizer is going to tell me where to stitch. So I'm going to go to the machine now. And I'm using my open toe foot, that way I can see exactly where to stitch. I'm going to start at one corner and begin stitching. So back stitch a little bit. And notice that I'm stitching only on the fabric, not on that stabilizer. Just stitching as close as I can get. And we'll turn. And turn again. one more time. And I'm going to stitch over just my previous stitching a tiny bit here. Yes, and I'm using the pivot function so that my needle stays down, and then that way it makes it super easy during that construction there. Okay, so I'm going to get my needle up, and we'll clip these threads. And now I'm ready to cut this opening. So I will fold and make a small snip, and I will slash all the way down. And then I'm going to cut to these corners. You want to clip just to the stitching but not through it so that it will turn nicely. And now I'm ready to press. Now, one of the things that I really like to do before I turn this pocket through the opening is I like to fold the fabric back and give it a little press. It just gives you a crisper line there along your seam. So I'll do that along my edges there too. And now I'm ready to turn this pocket through the opening. And we're about to have a beautiful finished opening, all ready for a zipper. So you have to maneuver that just a little bit. I like to work to get my fabric fully turned to the inside there so I don't see any of that pocket fabric from the front side. So it takes a little bit of patience to get that all. See how these corners want to buckle just a little bit. So I'll come in and press those really well before adding that zipper. Okay, let's take a look at it from the front. And I say that's looking really good to add the zipper now. Okay, so I'm ready to add a zipper. Here's my zipper. It's longer than the opening, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'll cut off whatever I don't need. So I'm going to layer my zipper underneath. And I'm kind of a maverick. I don't pin my zipper in place or stick it or anything. I just kind of hold it as I stitch. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine now. And we are going to switch to a zipper foot. I'm going to adjust it so that my zipper foot is, let's see, my needle is on the left side. That way it'll line right up when I get ready to stitch my zipper in. So we'll start out right about here. Let's see here. There we go. And we'll start stitching. And it's a little tricky when you're right next to the top of the zipper, but we'll get there. There we go. Now I'm just going to stay mindful of keeping that zipper centered in my opening. I'm going to stitch. And pivot. Now be really careful stitching across the zipper. You don't want to break your needle. Okay, one more stitch and we're ready to pivot. All right. And pivot one more time. Uh-oh. Let's get that needle up and get it in the right spot. There we go. And finish that up. Back stitch a little bit. So our zipper is now in. I'm going to trim off the zipper tape. Notice how the pocket's just a little wider than that zipper opening. That is so that I can stitch this pocket on the sides. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to fold the pocket up just like that, and it's time to go back to the sewing machine and stitch the sides of the pocket in place. So what I would do is I would stitch this in place, by folding away the stabilizer. So I would do about, I'd say a 3/8 inch. Okay, and I would just finish the other side the same way. And then once that is stitched, I would go back to my zipper foot and stitch across the top of the pocket once more. And there you have it. You have a zipper installed on the exterior of a bag, and it's ready for you to put whatever you need to put in it.